Xbox One and Windows 10 exclusive. Just want to say that. Regardless, the Microsoft conference just ended, and, well, it was a damn good one. I mean, I'm not the least bit surprised. I mean, the last couple of years, Xbox has been on their A game, and the Microsoft conferences have been just outstanding. And, well, that's because of, well, what they focus on. Games. Ever since the whole Xbox One reveal and the whole TV thing, they've learned not to do that shit again. And it's good to see that they're sticking to the same old format. So, nothing new, nothing, you know, extravagant with like the actual way they displayed the games, but the actual games themselves are what we're here to talk about. So yeah, let's move on. Oh, actually, before we get to the actual games, let's talk about their big reveal, and it's obviously what the Xbox One Scorpio is actually called. The Xbox One X. And at this point, I don't really care about how they call the consoles anymore, because the whole 360 thing, and then the Xbox One, when the original Xbox was originally Xbox One, and now whatever. It makes sense because, you know, Xbox One S, Xbox One regular, and Xbox One X, so it all makes sense. But regardless, let's talk about the actual specs that the actual system holds, and well, I'll put some down here. But yeah, this thing is beefed up. It's essentially the same as like the Pro. It'll, you know, take old games, you know, up-res them, you know, they make them perform better. But obviously, it's a much more powerful than the PS4 Pro. And on top of all that, it's going to be the smallest Xbox ever made, and it is liquid cooled. Which, holy shit. I mean, that means this thing must run hot, because it's going to be the first ever console that is liquid cooled. So, that's great to hear. But can you just imagine how this thing would, how hot it would be, and how many freaking errors it would probably cause if it wasn't liquid cooled? But yeah, regardless, this thing must be a freaking powerhouse. Regardless, let's get to the games. And the first game they decide to showcase, of course, you know, one of their greatest flagship series, is Forza Motorsport 7. And at 4K, yeah, it looks amazing. I mean, what do you expect? It's a great series, the graphics look amazing, and it's an obvious choice to start things off, because it just looks great. But yeah, let's move on. And let's get the actual other games. They made the huge point that they're going to be displaying, or they're going to be showcasing 42 games, 22 of which are going to be exclusives. And some are actually Xbox One exclusive. I don't believe that you'll be able to play them on Windows 10, but finally, like, some reason to own an Xbox One. And whatever, it just looks great, but 22 exclusives may not seem like such a high number. I mean, granted, like other old years, I mean, they've had like other systems like the Nintendo and like the Sony PlayStation have definitely had more exclusives. But hell, it's something, and I'm just happy to see that the Xbox One is getting some love. But yeah, let's move on. This one is non-exclusive, and it's finally, I believe, the end of the trilogy, Metro Exodus. The graphics look amazing. The game looks great. The atmosphere is fantastic. The trailer was pre-rendered footage. I mean, it does say in-engine, but I would have liked to see actual gameplay, because while it looks great, it may not be 100% representative of what we get in the final game. Regardless, it just looks still fantastic. Let's move on. This one looks good, but it's not my cup of tea. Assassin's Creed Origins, taking us back now to Egypt, and again, looks cool, but I really don't care. The next they talk about is the Mixer, which is like their version of live streaming, the same as like Twitch and, you know, YouTube live streaming. It's cool that it has exclusive features for the Xbox, but whatever. Next up, an indie title that I actually have a little bit to say about, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And well, this is an exclusive game, I believe Xbox One exclusive, not going to be available on Windows 10. I mean, it didn't really seem that clear. But this game is going to be 100 or 100 plus players all in one map. This reminds me a lot of the game Mag for PS3. That's not really a good thing. Granted, nowadays servers are a lot more, you know, faster and stronger, and they're able to, you know, handle more players. But I don't know if 100 players, and depending on how, you know, detailed the actual game is, because Mag, well, it had 256 players, it was a very simplistic shooter. This one might be a little more detailed. I just don't know if the servers would keep up. It just looks like it could be fodder for just... It just looks like it could easily screw up because of the many things against it. Server issues, lag, all this stuff. But it looks great. From what we saw, not that much gameplay, but it does seem like a cool idea. Next up. Deep Rock Galactic. Looks like a fun, cartoony horde mode game, and another exclusive. It looks cool. I like the art style. It looks it looks fun. That's all I'm gonna say. It looks fun, but not enough for me to actually, you know, go out and buy an Xbox. But whatever. State of Decay 2. Now, I barely played State of Decay 1, but yeah, I just love the zombie genre, and this is one of the highlights in the actual genre nowadays. It's a complete 100% survival game. You have to scavenge supplies, you have to stay alive, and it just looks like a lot of fun, and I cannot wait to play this. Either if I do decide to get an Xbox One or on PC. It just looks really awesome. Next, the Darwin Project. Now, this looks like a really cool, you know, deathmatch type of game. The CGI trailer kind of sold me on it. It looks fun, but the actual gameplay itself looks a little shaky. Didn't really seem smooth, and I don't know. I guess the whole it does have, you know, features of mixer, and I guess there's like they were showcasing with an announcer. It was kind of like, you know, like an esports kind of game. I mean, I think they're really pushing for this game to be like an esports title, but it doesn't really seem like it would have the. Doesn't really seem like it would be worthwhile. I don't know. It just didn't really seem like that enthralling to me. Next up, this one is cool yet lame. Let's talk about the cool stuff first. More Minecraft stuff. Pretty much more stronger community stuff, but most importantly, crossplay between mobile, VR, consoles, and PC. The only thing is, through the whole trailer, they didn't really show the PS4, which I find it kind of funny that it might. I mean, that'd be kind of a, you know, a stab in the balls if Xbox pretty much left PlayStation out. I get if they let them out for the trailer, or it just didn't seem clear enough because they showed Switch, mobile, and, you know, PC more up front, and the Xbox, of course. But if they left out PlayStation, that's a huge fan base. But granted, I don't know if it's a huge fan base in the actual Minecraft community, because usually the biggest fan base is obviously PC, and next mobile, and then I would suggest Xbox, and then PlayStation at the very end. So it's probably a business tactic, or you're just a big ol' screw you PlayStation, you can't play with us. I don't know. But that's all cool, but the rest is very meh. It's super duper graphics mod, and it just looks it's Minecraft in 4K with like shading and, you know, just better reflections. It just looks nicer. But I've never really thought of Minecraft and thought, holy crap, this is where graphics are at. This is exactly like, no, I don't really care for a graphics mod. I mean, graphics mods are cool. They exist like wildfire on the mod, or like the PC for like mods and shit. But I just don't care. It's just Minecraft in 4K. I don't care. And from the way the crowd reacted, I believe I am not alone in this. So whatever. Oh, this next one kind of made me scream in joy. And thankfully, it's not an exclusive, because if it wasn't exclusive, I would have bought an Xbox One. Although I would probably got on the PC, but if this was an Xbox One exclusive, I would have just lost my shit, and I would have probably. This is one of those games. Sorry. Dragon Ball FighterZ, or Dragon Ball FighterZ. I don't know whatever the hell I'm going for. But regardless, it's 3 versus 3 clashes, and it's a 2D, it's like a 2.5D Dragon Ball Z fighter. But the thing that clinches it for me is the fact that the graphics aren't cel shaded like the past ones. I mean, they are cel shaded, but they look like the actual anime, like actual legitimate anime graphics, and it just looks freaking incredible. I am stoked. This is more than likely a day one buy for me, as long as, you know, some of the previews look good. The gameplay looks great. It's already kind of selling me hardcore, and I'm a huge fan of like Budokai and like stuff like that. Granted, I never really played them as much as my other friends. You know, Tim, I know you're freaking probably watching this, but yeah, Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball FighterZ, or Dragon Ball FighterZ, it just looks great. I'm excited. The next reveal is an MMORPG called Black Desert. Now, I'm not a huge fan of MMORPGs because I've tried to stay away from them because I don't want to lose myself in them. I mean, I feel like I could easily get slipped into them, or slip my, you know, whole. I'm just afraid of them. I don't want to lose my life. But regardless, it looks really cool. Great environments. Very, you know, medieval slash. It's like a medieval feel to it, like a Dark Souls, I guess. but it looks like a lot of fun. Not really my cup of tea, but it looks like a great inclusion in the Xbox One lineup. Next up, okay, this one, and I'm talking about The Last Night. This is an indie title. This is a fantastic looking game. I mean, the graphics look... I love, like, neo-noir kind of stuff, and this just triggers that impulse just perfectly because it looks sweet. It's 2.5 3D graphics, or 2.5D graphics. It's a mixture of 2D and 3D graphics. It's like a pixel art game, but with 3D shading in the background. It just looks awesome. Look it up. It just looks fantastic. And the whole story, I mean, they really didn't give that much about the story, like the gameplay, but from what it looks like, it's gonna be like a neo-noir game. It just looks great, and I'm stoked. The soundtrack sounded fantastic, and it just looks like my perfect kind of game. And I'm definitely buying it on PC. Next up, another indie title, which kind of pushed me away. It's called The Artful Escape, and it's a platformer with a visual flair that I don't really care for. I mean, the character was jumping around, playing guitar, and I was like, I just don't care. They're clearly trying to go for a very cool, like, artsy vibe for it, and I don't really, again, I don't care. It seemed a little pretentious. And even, like, the thing was like, oh yeah, when's the release date? When it's damn ready. When it's damn good and ready. It's like, alright, it's like, we don't really know you guys. Like, settle down. Just chill out. I don't know. It just didn't interest me at all, and that's all I'm saying. Next up, Code Vein. This game also very similar to like Dark Souls, has a great atmosphere, but it also has a huge, you know, emphasis on anime style, and it looks cool. I like to see more of it, but just the CGI trailer, I mean, look cool. Next up, obviously the Sea of Thieves footage. I mean, just stop trying to sell me on this game and just sell the damn game already. Sea of Thieves is a definite win on the Xbox One, and just release the damn thing already. Stop teasing us. I don't care. Just release the damn game. It looks like so much fun. I just want to play it already. Stop. And they gave it a good amount of time for it too. So like if you haven't seen Sea of Thieves and you want to, you know, get a refresher course, or you don't want to see more of the aspects, like they did show like a full-on like mission, like them landing on an island, infiltrating inside, and then stealing treasure and getting the hell out of it. That seemed really cool. But regardless, I'm already sold. Just sell us the damn game already. Next up, Tacoma, a space indie title that was just meh. And the weird thing is, they really didn't show that much, and it's releasing in August, so... I mean, if that's the full game, it's whatever. I really don't care. Next up, Super Lucky's Tale, a collectathon platformer, not aimed really towards me, you know, more for kids. But it seems like if I was a kid, I can get, you know, some fun out of it. It's very similar to, like, the art style of, like, what's it called? Conker's Bad Fur Day, or, you know, Banjo-Kazooie. But regardless, it just looked good. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know. Now, speaking of appealing to my inner child, Cuphead. They really didn't give us anything new except for a damn release date in September 29th. Yes! I've been just so excited for Cuphead, and I just want to play the damn thing. It's just the art style. The art style looks fantastic. It seems like, you know, it's a regular, run-of-the-mill, you know, a shoot-'em-up platformer. But I just love that old-fashioned cartoon style. It just looks great. Next up, Crackdown 3. Now, what is something that Crackdown's always been missing? Terry Crews. Now, I seriously doubt that he's actually in the game, but the trailer they showed for him was kind of cool, over the top. It was goofy as hell, and hell, it got my attention. But, never really been a fan of the Crackdown series, so... but regardless, I'm still happy to see it come back. It's a really fun series, and I played it a couple times. I played Crackdown 1 and 2. Yeah. So yeah, regardless, it just seems like a cool series, and I'm glad to see there's a third one now. Next up, they went through a whole list of their indie spotlight. So like ID at Xbox, and I'll just go through I'll go to the list. It's Osiris New Dawn, Raiders of the Broken Planet, Unruly Heroes, Path of Exile, Battllerite, Surviving Mars, Fable Fortune, Observer, Robocraft Infinity, Dunk Lords, Minion Masters, Forced to Duel, Brawlout, Ooblets, or Ooblets, I don't really know what's that, Dark and Light, Strange Brigade, Riverbond, Hello Neighbor, Shift, and Conan Exiles. I don't know if they're all Xbox exclusives, but that is a good amount of games to be revealing, at least to be showing that's coming for the Xbox One, because, again, Xbox is hemorrhaging in titles, at least exclusive ones. So if any of these are exclusive, that's a good lineup. Next up, I don't know if this is exclusive. Shit, I should have wrote this down. Regardless, Ashen. This seems like a really cool co-op dungeon crawler game. It looks like a lot of fun. Very simplistic graphics, very, you know, artistic, but it looks really, really cool. The enemies look freaking gnarly, and it just looks like a lot of fun. Next up, some reveals. Life is Strange Before the Storm. And I think, oh, sorry, Ashen was a reveal. But Life is Strange Before the Storm, and that's just cool to hear that they have a, I believe it's a prequel to the last game. Of course, they showed Shadows of War, more of the same, just a much bigger map and a lot more, you know, gameplay tweaks. Shadows of Mordor was a huge flagship title. Like, I don't really like Assassin's Creed, but that game took the Assassin's Creed formula and made it so much better. So with Shadows of War, I'm actually excited, and I'm hoping to pick this up. It just looks like a great game. And it's coming out on October 10th, so damn, that is really, really, really soon. Next up, we get a sequel, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, a dark and atmospheric and great artistic, emotional trailer. It's a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, and while I didn't play the first game, the buzz of the first one was really, really good, and it looks really, really cool. And, oh god. So that's it with the games, at least for maybe one more I'll put one at the end. But here's one of the biggest things that's possibly going to make me just say, screw it, I'll get an Xbox One. Because as much as I do, I already own a 360, but this is, I'm sorry, just blabbering. This is huge. I mean, holy shit. The Xbox One now has original Xbox, or they're going to be working on original Xbox backwards compatibility. And that is incredible. I think Crimson Skies is the first one that they've announced, but regardless, that is kind of unheard of. I don't think there's ever been... No, PS3. Sorry. PS3 can play PS1 games. But regardless, original Xbox games are going to be able to be played on the Xbox One. That is huge. I mean, again, I don't know. I mean, the Xbox One library, or the original Xbox library, when you really look back on it, didn't have that many great games. I mean, obviously the flagship titles like Halo, and, you know, stuff like the best versions of certain games, you know, like Burnout 3, Simpsons Road Rage, you know, like Hit and Run, like stuff like that. Like, they were the best third-party system, but not that many exclusives, except for maybe like Mech Assault. I don't know. I'm just throwing out random Xbox games. But this is still a cool feature. I mean, holy crap. If you have old Xbox games collecting dust, you can throw them back in your Xbox. Well, hopefully if they are added to the list of, you know, backwards compatibility. But regardless, still, this is just a huge point to Xbox. Next up, Xbox One X will enhance your games. This is obviously great, but it was expected. And Xbox One X has a November release date, and the price is only $500. That is pretty freaking low. I mean, they're clearly selling this thing at a loss. They have to. But for $500, that is one hell of a beefy system. Again, I probably won't buy it day one. I'll probably wait till, you know, a price drop. But still, anyone's interested in the Scorpio, that's a great price to, you know, pick it up at. But again, if you already own a PC or a tower, you might as well just upgrade that thing. I mean, the Xbox One X is kind of coming out at a bad time, because beforehand there were people were saying, oh, the thing doesn't have any games. Well, now there's games coming out for it, so thankfully they'll have a little reason to buy the Xbox One X if you haven't owned an Xbox One, like me. But yeah, I just don't know. I do want to get an Xbox One. Kind of the borderline thing I'm trying to say. It's just, I don't know when. And at least I can honestly say that I want an Xbox One more so than I wanted one before, because there's some good games coming out and some cool features. And finally, to end all of it, Anthem. The thing that was teased at EA was finally revealed here. And before I get into the actual game, I just want to point something out. So Phil Spencer announced the game, you know, revealed it and stuff right after he did the whole Xbox One X thing. and he pretty much passed on the mic to the EA representative. And this was a very good example of how the EA conference conducted itself versus the Xbox conference. Phil Spencer went up and he exuded emotion and, you know, pride and like actual just excitement for video games. This asshat from EA just comes out and just starts just stumbling out, no emotion, just saying a bunch of buzzwords and just... That's my main issue with EA. It's a business. They treat it too much like a business. Granted, yes, video games are a business, but my god, show a little emotion, man. Show a little excitement for what you're making. You're just selling me a game, and personally, I really didn't care for it. And it was actually pretty much both announcers. The second guy, I think it was an actual developer, he, you know, showed more emotion, but the first representative was just, or what's his name, Patrick Soderbergh or something? Whatever. It was just sad to compare the two. Regardless, whatever, that's just me just pointing out. I just hate EA. I'm sorry, that's just me pointing out. Regardless, Anthem. Anthem looks freaking awesome, but in the same sense, I'm still a little hesitant. It looks like it's an exosuit, third-person war kind of game. It does remind me a lot of Destiny, though. But the actual atmosphere, like the actual, like the world around it is pretty big. So, whereas it does remind me like the whole Destiny thing, like, you know, you level up, you run around, and you're like doing like certain missions. The world is huge and very expansive compared to like Destiny. And this has to do with a lot of the fact that it's your exosuit. You can fly in it, you can go underwater with it, and the whole world is just your playground. I mean, it looks, in the world, I don't know if it's the different worlds or anything, or there's just one world, but regardless, it's a very forest, like, centered, like, map that they were in. It looked really cool, had, like, really different kind of enemy types, you know, like underwater enemies, dinosaurs, like, kind of like Titan things. It looked really, really cool. But, yeah. Oh yeah, it also has cool weather effects. I don't know how much they'll play in the actual game. Maybe it was just scripted, but regardless, it just looks cool. And, well, the exosuit really reminded me of a lot of the Iron Man suit because it's like, I mean, a lot of the tools were really very similar. I mean, you're shooting out of your hands, like, you can also lock on, you like, shoot a bunch of rockets out of your shoulder. But, yeah. It looks great. Don't get me wrong. But after being burned by Destiny... Granted, again, Destiny is a lot better nowadays, but originally the vanilla version was a big disappointment, so... And it is EA, so I'm expecting a lot of pilfering of my money. But, oh, that's pretty much it. Alright, so yeah, that's the whole conference, Microsoft conference. Again, a great focus on video games, which is exactly what you should be doing at a E3 conference. People are there for the video games. And, well, Microsoft, you've been doing damn good, and you're actually making me want to buy an Xbox One, and that's exactly what you should be doing. I mean, yeah, I'm one sale. Who gives a crap about me? But the fact of the matter is, you're appealing more to the broader audience, and it just looks more appealing. All I'm trying to say. The games look great. A good amount of exclusives. Again, not as many as I would hope, but it's a good first step. Even though it is pretty late in the whole console generation. We don't even know yet, but maybe the Xbox, whatever the hell, 2, whatever. What the hell are they gonna call it for next one? Xbox 360, Xbox One. I'm sorry, it just really pisses me off with the whole title thing. But yeah, Microsoft, great job. If I were to give you a grading score, I'd give it an 8. Yeah, a good 8. It was a great conference. You know, really focused on the games. Phil Spencer was, you know, really, really passionate about what he was talking about, and didn't really change much of the formula of last year, but again, they didn't have to, and I'm just happy that the Xbox One is starting to get some good buzz, because for the longest time, they were just the laughing stock of the gaming industry for the longest time. It really does suck, but the fact of the matter is, you guys are selling me on this thing, and I'm happy about that. So yeah. Good conference, you know, thumbs up all around. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole video. Okay, so next up, I believe, is Ubisoft tonight. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure that. No, Bethesda. Sorry, next conference is Bethesda, and I can only hope to see, or if you're already in the future, you already know what's there. But check in the description below. I just see like a nice little playlist or like the actual links of all the videos that I'm doing of this E3. So yeah. I'm nowhere near done. I'm just starting. So yeah, that was the video. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon.